I spent 15 years gardening on apartment balconies before I ever had a yard. And the thing nobody told me back then is that you don't need an orchard to grow your own fruit. You need a pot and a sunny corner. Today, I'm walking you through 8 fruit trees that genuinely thrive in containers and small spaces, and I picked these 8 because I've either grown them myself or watched my friend Gloria grow them on her San Francisco balcony for over 20 years. We'll count down from number 8 to number 1 and stick around to the end because the tree at number 1 is one most people assume needs a full backyard. It doesn't, not even close. Here's the thing. Every single tree on this list is one I either grew myself in a pot out behind my little Sacramento house or one I watched Gloria grow on her San Francisco balcony for more than 20 years. No theory, nothing I read about and decided sounded good. Only what I've actually seen set fruit. After 15 years gardening on apartment balconies in 3 different cities, I learned the trick to container fruit isn't land. It's picking the right tree and putting it in the right size pot. That's it. We're counting down from number 8 all the way to number 1, and number 1 is the tree almost everyone assumes needs a full backyard. It doesn't. And along the way, I'll point out which of these you can even start from a simple cutting for almost nothing. Most of mine started cheap, in pots I already had, so if you've got a sunny corner and a little patience, you've got everything you need. Let's get into it. Number 8, the kumquat. If you've never grown citrus in a pot before, this is where I'd tell you to start. The variety I grow is called Nagami, and it is hands down the easiest small citrus I've ever kept in a container. Here's why I love it for beginners. It's cold hardier than just about any other citrus, so when our mild Sacramento winters dip down, it shrugs it off. It's self-fertile, which means you only need the one tree, no partner required, and it naturally stays small, so you're not fighting it back every season. Now the fun part, you eat the whole fruit, skin and all. The peel is sweet and the inside is tart, so you pop the whole thing in your mouth, and it's this little burst of both at once. I grow mine in a 10-gallon pot in the sunniest corner of my patio, and a tree that size will set dozens of thumb-sized fruit through the season. Dozens. Off a pot I can move with 2 hands. That's what makes the kumquat the gateway citrus in my book. It proves the whole point of this video before we've even gotten going. You do not need ground in the earth to grow your own fruit. You need a pot, some sun, and a tree that knows how to stay polite about its size. And from a tree that wants to stay small, let's move to one that survives on flat-out neglect and looks like it wandered straight out of a Mediterranean courtyard. Number 7. The olive. I've got an Arbequina olive in a 15-gallon pot that's going on 3 years now, and honestly, it might be the lowest maintenance tree I own. Here's what I figured out the hard way with my citrus. Citrus wants regular water, a lot of it in summer. The olive does not. It's drought tolerant down to the bone, so in the hot stretch of a Sacramento summer, I barely water it compared to everything else on the patio. It's slow growing, which sounds like a knock, but is actually perfect for a pot, because it isn't trying to outgrow its container every few months. And it takes hard pruning beautifully, so when it does start reaching, I just cut it back and it stays the size I want. Arbequina is also self-fertile enough that a single tree in a single pot will set fruit on its own, which matters when you've only got room for one. Mine has that silvery green leaf that catches the light, and it just sits there in the corner looking like it belongs, asking for almost nothing. That's the appeal. If you're the type who forgets to water, this is your tree. It'll forgive you. Now, from a tree I grow mostly for how unbothered it is, let's go to one I'd grow for its flowers, even if it never gave me a single piece of fruit. Number 6, the dwarf pomegranate. And this one surprised me the first time I saw it. The variety is Nana, and it tops out at around 3 feet. 3 feet. That's a tabletop plant. And it's self-pollinating, so again, one plant does the whole job. Gloria keeps one on her balcony rail in San Francisco, and what gets me every time I visit is how long it flowers. These bright orange-red blooms, almost the color of a flame, and they keep coming for months through the warm season. Her bees find some of them, and the ones they miss, she just dabs with a little brush herself. Either way, she gets fruit on a plant small enough to sit on a railing. Here's the part that makes it perfect for a pot. The dwarf pomegranate actually likes having its roots restricted. It's not sitting in a container wishing it were in the ground. It's content. So you get this little plant that gives you a long, fiery flowering show and real fruit at the end, all in a pot you could lift with one arm. Beauty and food in the same small package. That's a rare combination, and the pomegranate pulls it off. From a tree that takes its sweet time flowering all summer, let's go to one that can hand you fruit the very first year you pot it. Number 5. The dwarf ever-bearing mulberry. This one earns its spot on speed alone. A dwarf ever-bearing mulberry can set fruit in its very first year, and then it crops on and off right through the warm season instead of giving you one quick window and quitting. Now, I have to be honest about mulberries because a regular one is a monster. Plant a standard mulberry in the ground, and you've got a 30-foot tree on your hands with roots and shade and berries dropping everywhere. But in a pot, this dwarf stays a tidy 4 to 5 foot bush, and a little pruning keeps it right there. Like the kumquat we covered back at number 8, this one's self-fertile, so you don't need a second plant to get fruit. Just the one, doing its own thing. Here's something I learned the hard way. Those dark berries stain. In the ground, under a big tree, that's a purple mess all over your patio and the bottoms of your shoes. But up in a pot, a bush you can reach all the way around, the mess is easy to manage. You pick what's ripe, you're done. Nothing's raining down on the concrete. For fast gratification, nothing on this list beats a mulberry that's feeding you in its first season. And from a tree that wants nothing from winter, let's go to one that actually needs a cold spell to do its job. That's the first hint of a requirement the tree at number 1 shares. Number 4, the genetic dwarf peach, variety Bonanza. And I want to be clear about what genetic dwarf means because it's the whole reason this works. This isn't a regular peach grafted onto small roots. It's naturally small in its genes, so it only ever grows 4 to 6 feet tall no matter what. It's self-fertile, so one tree does it, and here's the kicker. It gives you full-size peaches, not little ornamental things. Real, full-size stone fruit. Off a tree you can keep on a patio. Mine blooms this gorgeous pink in spring, and for a couple of weeks it's the prettiest thing in the yard before the fruit even starts. But here's the catch, and I have to be honest with you about it. A peach needs a cold enough winter to set fruit. Gardeners call it chill hours, which just means a stretch of cold the tree counts up before it'll wake up and bloom properly. And here in Sacramento, our mild winters just barely deliver enough. Some years it's great. Some years it's a little thin. And I'll tell you now, the tree waiting at number 1 also needs that winter chill. And that's exactly why people assume it can't be done in a pot. We'll get there. For now, just know this. Real stone fruit, the kind you'd swear needed an orchard, is absolutely possible in a small space. From a tree that's fussy about its winter, let's go to one that actually fruits better the more crowded its roots get. Number 3, the fig. And I'll be honest with you, this is the one I get a little excited about because it's the only tree on this whole list that genuinely prefers a pot. Most plants tolerate a container. A fig leans into it. When you grow a black mission or a petite negra in the ground, it spends the first few years just throwing out leaves and getting bigger. But when you restrict its roots in a pot, it stops chasing size and starts putting that energy into fruit instead. It's self-fertile, so one tree is all you need, and in a long, warm season like ours out here, you can sometimes pull 2 crops off the same tree in a single year. Here's the part that really got me, though. A fig can be started from nothing more than a dormant cutting. A bare stick, really. You stick it in a pot of soil over winter, and by spring it's pushing roots and leaves on its own. I'll come back to that idea at the end, because it changes how you think about ever paying for a tree again. For now, just know this is the most pot-suited tree I grow. It almost feels like cheating. From a tree that wants its roots crowded, let's go to the single most recognizable container fruit tree there is, and it's the one living on Gloria's balcony. Number 2, the Meyer lemon. This is the tree most people picture the second you say the words fruit tree in a pot. And for once, the popular pick is the right pick. The Meyer is self-fertile. It blooms several times a year, and those blossoms are the most fragrant thing I've ever grown. You walk past it, and the whole corner smells like a perfume counter. But the real proof here isn't mine. Gloria has had a Meyer lemon on her San Francisco balcony for years now, in a pot you'd call modest, and that one tree still hands her dozens of lemons every single season. Dozens! Off a balcony. She zests them, she juices them, she gives them to her granddaughter May to carry downstairs to the neighbors. That's not theory. That's 20 years of a woman with no yard proving the whole point of this video. And I'll tell you, if a lemon in a pot already impresses you, wait until you see the tree at number 1. Now before we get to it, I want to take a quick second. If you're starting to realize you don't need a yard or expensive gear to grow real fruit, the thing you actually need to figure out is the pot itself. That's exactly what Chapter 4 of my book, The 30-Day Kitchen Scrap Garden Protocol, walks you through. It's called Container Gardening on Zero Budget, and it covers free containers, free soil, and the deep container method these trees need, with 3 cross-section diagrams showing you exactly how to layer and drain a pot so a tree thrives in it. The whole book is $17 at backyardbuddybooks.com. If you're watching on your TV, grab your phone and point it at the QR code on screen. Take your time, I'll wait right here. And if you're on your phone or laptop, the link is right down in the description. All right, let's get to number 1. And the one at number 1 is the tree almost everyone tells me can't be done in a pot, the apple. Now, I know how that sounds. When you picture an apple tree, you picture a sprawling thing in an orchard, branches reaching 20 feet wide, a ladder leaned against it. That image is exactly why people give up before they start. But here's the thing, there's a kind of apple called a columnar apple, and a columnar apple doesn't sprawl at all. It grows straight up like a green pole on a footprint about 2 feet wide. No side branches reaching out, just full-size apples set tight along a single vertical stem. A variety like Golden Sentinel will fit a patio corner in a 15 to 20-gallon pot and never crowd a thing. Now, there are 2 things you need to handle, and they're both simple. The first is pollination. Most apples want a second variety nearby to set fruit, so you either pair it with another variety, you use a multi-graft tree that has several kinds grafted onto one trunk, or you do what I like best and plant 2 columnars in one large pot. They take up almost no room side by side. The second thing is that winter chill I warned you about back at the dwarf peach at number 4. An apple needs cold hours to bloom right, and Sacramento's mild winters don't always deliver. The fix is to grow a low-chill variety. Anna is the one I trust out here, bred to fruit on a mild winter, and it does. I grow an apple in a pot on my own patio, and every time someone new sees it, they say the same thing. They didn't know you could do that. That's the tree that finally made me stop believing I needed land. It overturns the whole orchard assumption in one 15-gallon pot. The hook said, most people assume number 1 needs a full backyard. It doesn't, not even close. Before I let you go, I want to come back to that fig cutting I mentioned at number 3. If you want these trees to keep producing for years and even start brand new ones for free, that's the long game. And it's Chapter 9 of the book, The Long Game, Perennials and Self-Sustaining Systems. It covers starting fruit from cuttings like fig and grape, building a food forest in containers, and it leans on Gloria's 20-year balcony system as living proof that this lasts. There's a diagram in there showing how to arrange perennial containers for year-round harvest. It's honestly the guide I wish I'd had on my Portland balcony 15 years ago, when I had no yard and no clue. You can grab it for $17 over at backyardbuddybooks.com. If you're on the big screen, point your phone at that QR code and give it a moment to load. No rush at all, and if you're reading this on your phone, the link is sitting right there in the description. So those are the 8 fruit trees I'd actually trust in a pot, every one of them grown by me or watched on Gloria's balcony for over 20 years. If you take one thing from this, take this. Don't try all 8. Start with one. Pick the easiest one, the kumquat or the fig, get it in a sunny corner, and just begin. You don't need a yard. You need a window and a pot. Drop a comment and let me know which one you're trying first, because I rid every single one. And if you want to go deeper on the dirt these trees live in, watch my video on container soil and repotting next, since the right mix matters as much as the right tree. Until next time, keep growing your own food, my friend.